Hey friends, it's Lindsay from Hello Hydrangea. Today I'm going to show you how to make this basket woven mirror. I saw this from inspiration from different places to do basket weaving frame and then a mirror in the middle, and so I wanted to try it out and I'll show you what I did. So the first thing I did was gather my supplies. I got 2 metal hoops in the floral section of the craft store, and I also got some 18 gauge wire, which is the thickest wire I could find. And I also grabbed some raffia to fill in the frame for all of the basket weaving parts. I wanted the small hoop to stay centered in the big hoop, so I used pipe cleaners to hold them in place while I was making the frame. Then I measured out some segments and drew them straight onto the hoops, the small and the big ones, so I would know where to make the scallops. Before I started weaving, I wanted to make a frame, so I used the wire to connect the 2 rings, and I used just a drinking glass to help me make the scallops on the sides. Here's how I did it. After making a scallop, I would wrap the wire around the big outside circle. Then I wrapped it down around the inside circle all the way, making sure that these segments connected between the 2 marks that I made on the outside and the inside circle. Then I went back up to the outside circle and made another scallop. When I had made it all the way around the hoops, I just clipped the wires and wrapped them up, and then I removed the pipe cleaners because I didn't need them anymore. For the next part, I used raffia, grabbing 3 to 4 strands at a time. I used the raffia to wrap the frame starting in the center ring to cover up the metal and the wires. I covered up the vertical segments by going over them with the raffia and then twisting the raffia around them on the way back down to the center ring. I also added extra segments in between the wire segments, just by using the raffia in the same way. When my lengths ran out, I grabbed a few new pieces and laid them on top of where I was wrapping. Then I would wrap them with the old piece of raffia a few times. Then I would place the old length of raffia down where I was wrapping and start wrapping around it with the new piece of raffia. When I was done, I would just go back and clip these tails. Here's how it looked with the first ring done and all of the tails clipped, but I'll show you how I finished it. Once I got to the end of the ring, I would use a needle to guide the last strand of raffia down through a few pieces of raffia that were wrapped from before. Just pull them through and clip the tail. For the second ring, I went across the ring, over the scallop, and then across the ring again, adding a segment in the center. These vertical segments will be really helpful when it's time to start weaving the raffia into the frame, so that's why I added them into the scallops as well. I just continued to follow this sequence of wrapping until the entire second ring and all of the scallops were wrapped as well. Now for the weaving part. Again, I used 3 to 4 pieces of raffia at a time. To start, I folded them in half and put them around a segment. Then I twisted them so that one went underneath the next segment and one went over the next segment. Then I twisted them together again so that one went underneath the next segment and one went over the next segment. This is called twining if you're familiar with weaving. This is also where those segments come in to help. They hold the twining in place, and they also make the weaving more dense and secure. To add on new lengths of raffia during this part, just overlap the old tails with the new tails of lengths and then twist them together as you are twining. Continue twining and twisting raffia all the way around the frame until it is filled. Now it is time to fill in the scallops. These are done very simply, just by going over, under the sides and the segment in the middle. Leave a 2 to 3 inch tail at the beginning and the ending. A crochet hook can help you get into those tight spots near the center end of the scallop, and it can also help to tuck those tails in when you are done. Once all of the scallops are filled, that's it. Your frame is complete. I added a mirror to the center of mine. Just turn the frame over and use some hot glue to attach the mirror to the center. This was such a fun project, and now I'm thinking of all the different kinds of shapes I want to try next.